I'd like to get in if I could, Chairman, and I have a rather unusual request.
First, but you weren't here at the start to bring you in first.
I appreciate that, Chairman. I was and got called away, but I'm here now, and that's all that really matters. I want to make a rather unusual request. I haven't discussed it with any of my colleagues, but I feel that in light of a letter I received today from the Irish Airline Pilots Association, and in light of a request that I have before the Transport Committee, and in light of the fact that the report of Rescue 116 did not publish until after this bill had commenced in the Dáil, I believe that we should suspend any further debate on this bill today and allow the Joint Oireachtas Committee to meet with Captain Cullen to listen to his concerns and to bring the bill back to the committee, where the committee can deal with the issues that we have raised by way of amendment here. I do not believe that this bill should go through as it stands right now, and I would ask one of my colleagues to second that motion that I'm putting before the House right now.
I suppose just, I'm just taking your request as I find it. The order of business of the day has been agreed by the House, so we would need an amendment to that order of business proposed. I suppose the Leader of the House is here, but I'm not sure whether that, if I have a request submitted to the Chair from the Leader proposing a change to the order of business, so be it, but I don't have that request yet, so I can only deal with the business as it's been proposed.
I apologise for dropping this right now in on people, and I apologise to the Leader of the House for doing it right now, but there is a significant amount of information coming our way. There are not people in the... We're talking about qualified pilots who have concerns that they have raised with members right across all parties and none. And most of us are fully in agreement with them. This is a hugely serious situation that we're dealing with. We're dealing with people's lives, we're dealing with the way our airlines will be dealt with, and I apologise to the Leader for not advising her in advance. But this is a fairly dynamic situation at the moment. It has been moving...
I'm totally neutral when I'm in the chair, but I'm also a member of the Transport Committee, so I did get that letter, and I was actually left a private committee meeting to come here to chair, so I'm aware of the letters and I'm aware of the requests and so on. I can only deal with the order of business as it's proposed, and if there's an amendment to the order of business proposed and the House deals with it, so be it, but it needs to come.
Well, I apologise to the Chair, but I'm asking the Chair, can I amend the order of business at this stage and suspend this bill? Further discussion on this bill. And I'm sure some of my colleagues
I think the Leader can propose a change to the order of business if the Leader so chooses, but that's the matter for the Leader.
Yeah. I'm sorry for doing this now at such short notice, but I do think we need time, and I don't believe that we should go ahead today. I'm really sorry about that, Leader.
Well, look, I mean, Leader, do you want to maybe make a contribution?
Chair, not to be telling you how to do your job, apologies. The Leader would never propose an amendment to the order of business. He or she would accept an amendment to the order of business. So the amendment needs to be put by a member to the Leader, and then obviously I would either accept it or not accept it.
And in the last, and the Leader of the House would often come in with a proposal to amend the order of business regularly. So that does happen, and it has happened.
Amend their own order.
I mean, certainly, you know, as a Leader of the House, you're the Leader of the House, and you bring something forward as a leader, it's more likely to be secured. Generally speaking, the Leader of the House is more likely to command a majority than somebody else is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, if Senator Craughwell proposed it to you and you accept it, that's also an acceptable mechanism.
Okay. Can I take guidance from?
Yeah, well, I've just been advised what I thought was correct is correct, that procedurally the Leader of the House has proposed to change the amendment to the order of business. If the Leader of the House proposes that amendment to the order of business and the House accepts that amendment, well then the order of business is changed.
And what the ask is, sorry not to be...
Senator Craughwell, Chair, but you might outline to me what you'd like the Leader to propose.
Yeah, what I'm asking the Leader to do is to suspend any further discussion on this bill until we've met IALPA, and I think that'll happen in the next few days. It'll give us a chance to listen to their side of the argument. I apologise to the Minister. I know her time. It
might be fair to the Minister to just allow the Minister to maybe make a contribution before we take your amendment, Leader, if that's agreeable to you.
I apologise to the Minister for such short notice on this, but I only had conversations with IALPA this morning, and I'd only continue.
It's a very fluid
before he came in.
Appreciate that. And Minister, would you like to make a contribution on the matters outlined so far?
Thank you, Gerard. And just first of all, I want to say that I completely hear the concerns of senators, and I've had a huge amount of engagement with the Oireachtas members, Dáil deputy senators, and there's been, I suppose, a large amount of, I suppose, consultation. What I would say, Senator, is and I hear the concerns that you've raised today regarding IALPA, and I met with them yesterday, and their voice and their amendments, which are tabled here, have been well aired. And I suppose I came to the Shannon today in good faith to discuss these amendments, and which I know that the senators have put forward as part of this deliberative and committee stage. And that's what I have come here to do today, to talk through them, to discuss it and debate it. That's what I said to IALPA last night when I spoke to them in a meeting. And that's what I would endeavour to do, to work with senators and to talk through the committee stage. This is what our role is here. Obviously, the business of the Shannon is up to yourselves, but I'm here to debate these amendments and to work with colleagues. And the rest is in your hands.
Thank you very much, Minister. And I know as a former senator, you're more than familiar with the workings of this House yourself. So, Senator Craughwell.
Sorry, Chairman. Look, I understand what the Minister is saying. But I believe that by bringing this back to the committee, we bring it to both houses. The TDs who did not have an opportunity when this bill was going through their house to take on board the recommendations particularly from Rescue 116, which are, the one thing that we can be sure about is that the department did not come out well out of the Rescue 116 report.
For the members, and I think it's fair as chair to make this point, is that obviously, and this is without any suggesting that we don't do what you're suggesting, is that obviously there are government amendments down already by the Minister that most likely will be accepted by the House in this legislation, which means it goes back as an amended piece of legislation to the Dáil, and the members of the Dáil will be dealing with this legislation again at a future point, because they will have the opportunity.
I still think it's a matter for the committee.
That doesn't take away from your point about it might be useful for the committee to discuss it further. I'm just letting it's not the case that the TDs won't have an opportunity to discuss this legislation again. They definitely will.
Yeah, Chairman, I think if it goes back to the committee, not only will the committee members have access to all of the actors involved in this, there will be an opportunity for all agencies involved to come in and make their points, and it would be up to the committee then to decide whether or not it's going to recommend changes. So I stick to my guns on this one, and I ask the leader to adjourn this debate for another day.
Again, I've been advised, and I kind of would have been aware of it anyway, that the bill is at committee stage and not pre-legislative scrutiny stage. So if it went back to the committee, it would be at committee stage in the committee, and the senators wouldn't have a role at that point.
Yeah, that's fine.
In terms of purely legislative committee stage, if it was to go back to the select committee to deal with the legislation. But leader, are you?
Just to note a point. The bill is at committee stage in the Shannon at the moment. It can't be sent back to the Oireachtas committee as it stands. It has to complete here before it goes anywhere. Now, the Oireachtas committee does obviously have the power to recall the bill back to the Oireachtas committee if it wants. The very most that's probably on offer from my powers today is to suspend the debate to allow the hearings that I think are taking place take place, and then we'll come back and pick it up from there. But this bill itself is in the Shannon at committee stage and will stay in the Shannon at committee stage until we complete it.
So do you, so leader, I'm trying to, Senator Boylan does want to come in, so you want to come in at this point?
Well, it is on to support Senator Craughwell's proposal to suspend the debate, because I think that the contents of the letter are deeply concerning that was circulated. I'm a member of the Transport Committee, and one of the amendments we're looking for and that IALPA are calling for is that licence holders' forums and that right to be heard and to be part of the conversation. But like the very first point in the letter is the fact that the Minister has only met with IALPA last night for a half-an-hour meeting. So there hasn't been proper consultation, and for a lot of us as elected reps who've been coming in and very frustrated, trying to make the case for IALPA, it is disappointing that they only got a meeting with yourself last night and that meeting was only half an hour long. And they do bring very, very significant concerns, and I think it's worth even putting them on the public record. Because, I mean, as I said, the Air Accident Investigation Unit or 116 report was published after the Air Navigation and Traffic Bill had passed through the initial stages of the Oireachtas. And they believe, therefore, that elected representatives of the Dáil, and in particular those of the Select Transport Committee, did not have the opportunity to scrutinise the ANTB through the prism of that accident report. And they said when they raised that matter with you, you deferred to your department official, who replied that the department had sight of the draft final R116 accident report, and they decided on the necessary amendments arising from that. But that report actually references a lack of technical expertise in your own department. So if you were making the amendments, you didn't have the technical expertise, according to IALPA, to be making those amendments on the back of that report. So I think they raise very, very serious concerns. I think that the only proper course of action now would be to suspend it, allow people the time to reflect on the concerns that were raised in the letter to the committee, and for the committee to hear from IALPA before this bill goes any further.
Minister, I think I don't have any other senators indicating at the moment. Sorry, Senator Dooley, do you want to come in before I bring the Minister back? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think in light of the cross-party, or what appears to be a cross-party consensus, that we do need to put a little bit more time and effort into this. I'd support the principle of the suspension, taking into account what the Minister has said, and it's not wanting in any way to frustrate the work that she's undergoing. But I think because of the nature of the effort being made by IALPA and its members, who really have no vested interest in this other than to be assured that the passage of this legislation meets the highest standard possible. And in light of events that have taken place elsewhere over the past couple of years, I think it would be prudent that we be at least seen to be judicious in the work that we do, and that we give the greatest consideration possible to this bill. Thanks.
Senator Dooley, look, I'm absolutely in the hands of everybody in this chamber, and I'm only following the order of business as proposed. I happen to be a member of the Transport Committee, even though I'm neutral when I'm up here, and I understand totally the concerns that are coming from IALPA and coming from the members of the committee. And indeed, if I was sitting down there, I'd probably be saying some of the things that are being said by other people. But certainly, I'm now going to bring in the Minister. I think it's fair we bring in the Minister, and then I do have a proposed wording, if you'd like to use it, Leader, to possibly articulate the views that I think I've heard. But Minister, certainly I'd like you to have your opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say at this point.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
No, very much, Cathaoirleach, and look, I respect the decision and the workings of the Seanad, absolutely, but it's important to say there's been extensive engagement with IALPA between my department, between myself, the regulator, deputies, senators, over 10 different engagements since last year on this piece of legislation. And in fact, IALPA's amendments are tabled as part of this legislation, and that is what I have come in to the committee stage of the Seanad to do today, is to discuss the exact issues that you're raising. But again, if the Seanad wish to defer this by any means, that absolutely, I totally respect that. But I came here to discuss the very issues that you have highlighted. But if you wish to delay it for whatever reasons, I completely respect that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And I do have a wording, if you'd like to use it, Leader, in a moment or two. But go ahead, your whatever you'd like to articulate.
To say, like, I can hear the Minister's frustration because she talks about the extensive engagement that has happened between the officials in the department, the IAA, indeed all of ourselves, and in relation to IALPA. The biggest problem here is that whilst there might have been 10 Zoom meetings, there isn't any listening going on, because there isn't one iota of an acceptance of what's been asked for by the people who own the licence, by the people who operate the planes and the aviation industry, and the safety and the security of all of the millions of passengers on a daily basis. Not one acquiescence has been given to anything that has been asked for. Not one. And so, you know, there might have been extensive engagement, but there certainly hasn't been sincerity in the interactions, and there certainly is no listening. So on that basis, whatever the wording is, I will certainly suspend today and refer back to the committee to discuss further.
Thank you, Senator Doherty. Now, I'm going to give you, I'll read out the wording that I'm proposing that is in your name, and then we'll see how the House deals with it. So that notwithstanding the order of the House today, the debate on item 2 do now adjourn. And you're proposing that? Is that agreed? Okay, so Seanad now stands adjourned until I think it's 2:30 to the next order of business.